Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are here with one of our mentors, Lauren Taal. She is a retired athlete, basketball athlete. She's played international and university, so we're really happy to have you here, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. You've told me your sports story. I've heard it, but I really just want to share it to everybody. So, from basically age 0 to now, how did you get to where you are, and what are you doing currently?
Yeah, so I think my sports story is actually quite unique. My mom was actually a post-secondary basketball assistant coach. So my sister and I were essentially raised in the gym. We'd get picked up from elementary school, go to our activities, and then we'd be stop in the drive-through at some fast food place, dropped or I guess ripped to the gym with mom and have to sit in the gym for the duration of her practice. So it was a really awesome opportunity. I know there's not many people that have the same similar story as me, but my sister and I were just basically free to run, and we knew what boundaries we were allowed to go on the big gym court. But essentially, it was just a free for all. So from a very very early age, we were physically active, and I think that kind of sparked my love of just sports and moving and all that kind of stuff. We were really super fortunate that my parents believed in letting us try and encouraging us to try different sports. So we did everything from gymnastics and dance, figure skating, ringette, soccer, track and field, basketball and volleyball, obviously, like literally anything we could get into. We were able to at least try it. So that was really, really awesome. I actually danced for 10 years. And then got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to pick if I want to play school sports still. I need to kind of I had too many things on my plate. So that was when I started to specialize, or I guess reduce my activities and kind of focus more on school sports. So the volleyball, basketball, cross country, that kind of stuff. Um, and I found my love for basketball, I think just because it was a familial thing. My mom coached, my my aunts and uncles coached and played, and my granddad actually coached at the University of Lethbridge as well. So it was kind of a family activity. Anytime we would go actually to Easter, or Christmas, or Thanksgiving, we would actually all go into a gym with all my older cousins. So something that was always, I guess, how we were brought up. I was fortunate enough to have lots of opportunities as a basketball athlete, not only locally in Lethbridge, but also through provincial programs and I guess like national programs with Canada Basketball. Participated in the Center for Performance, and I just really enjoyed learning and growing in that sport, and found that when I worked really hard, I actually saw progress. So that was something that was really cool for me. After high school, I was fortunate enough to kind of have my pick of where I wanted to go to university, and I chose the University of Lethbridge because all of my family went there on both sides, my mom and my dad's side. So it was just kind of a cool way to be part of that family history as well. Played my 5 years at the University of Lethbridge. Had lots and lots of ups and downs, but learned a lot about myself and grew as an athlete and grew as a person. And then was fortunate enough to go and play 3 seasons overseas, 2 in Germany and 1 in Australia. So it's really awesome when your sports enables you to be able to see the world and do the thing that you love for money. That it was an experience that I'll never forget. Through, I guess, all that time, I also was kind of dabbling in coaching a little bit, and being able to give back to the sport that gave me so much is really, really important to me. So that's kind of what brought me back here as well. I ended up pursuing my schooling. I realized I wasn't able to play basketball forever, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. But ended up getting my master's degree in sports management. So actually worked for the Oilers for a little bit, and then through COVID, obviously, sports has kind of taken a huge halt. So I actually am working for a moving company right now. But I feel like lots of the things that I learned as an athlete, I'm able to transfer to this new career, and knowing how to work hard and persevere through things when they're not super easy, or how you want them to be. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at right now. That's kind of my sports journey. So
That's really cool. It's really cool to see that transition even to a non-sports job now too, because a lot of the times that's when you're so familiar with the world, with athletics and being in sports, even with coaching, and you step out of that, it can be really uncomfortable. So it's really cool that you've acknowledged those skills that transfer over. So
mhm.
my next question to you actually, on that, I guess any point in your sports story, did you face any major barriers that you had to overcome or anything that stood out to you?
I think like any athlete, like being cut from a team is one thing that is a barrier that you face, and it's all about how you kind of approach those challenges. I think being an athlete who likes to learn and embraces kind of the adversity or the challenges that you're facing, that was something that has helped me my entire 32 years of life. And I actually had two ACL reconstructions as well. So that was something that you kind of learn a lot about yourself and a lot about who you are as an athlete and what you used to be and how you kind of grow and evolve from who you are after surgeries and stuff like that. So um, I think the main things that I always came back to is that like I can control what I do as myself as a person. I can't control the fact that I got hurt. I can't control the fact that I got cut from a team, but I can control what effort I put into my rehab or what extra stuff I do in watching film to kind of grow that side of my game when I can't go run and actually play. So it was lots of things like that where you had to be a little bit creative in your mind and go outside of your comfort zone of what you always did and what you knew was going to work and find a way. It was like a puzzle, find a way to kind of continue to grow even in your circumstances, even if they weren't ideal for you. So um, those barriers that you face, it might seem silly as an athlete when you're actually in it, like how is this ever going to help me moving forward? But when you kind of get into adulthood, it's the same things. Like maybe you fail a class in university or you fail a test, and how are you going to bounce back from that? Or you don't get a job that you really want. How do you deal with that disappointment? And how do you kind of move forward? Even just like stress things, like life can be stressful sometimes. We just finished putting all of our paperwork in to buy a house, and just like how you manage that stress with like finances and incomes that coming in and all that kind of stuff, making decisions, like all of those things. I think being an athlete have definitely helped me as an adult now, as a human person, not an athlete, kind of be able to get through all of that and know that it will just work out because I have confidence in myself about I am a confident, I guess I'm confident that I can believe in myself or trust in myself enough that I will make a good decision in the end. So,
Actually, on the note of confidence, when
mhm,
you get cut from a team and do
mhm.
you recall the process of how you kind of built that confidence back up and how you kind of got to, okay, I got to try it again, let's work here, this is what I need to improve, like how did you get back that confidence? Because it's a blow, even if you're starting out,
Mhm.
and especially young girls who are starting out that maybe haven't played a sport, try and then get cut, and that hurts because now you're like, okay, I thought this was great, but this is clearly not what's happening right now. So how did you kind of build that confidence back up so that you could try out again and can get back into your game?
Yeah, it's hard. Disappointment is a really, really hard thing to deal with. And I think being able to kind of step outside yourself and understand that lots of times, especially in a team sport, it might not necessarily be about you,
Mhm.
right? Like it's about what that team needs at that specific time. I have a really good, I guess, like feel good story. Now I can look back on it and say that. But I tried out for the provincial team 3 years in a row and got cut 3 years in a row. And then on my last year trying out, I actually made it. And I can remember tryouts. Our last tryouts were in Edmonton, and I actually had a horrible tryout. I was like so nervous. I was so stressed about it. I wanted to make the team so badly, but I had done enough, I guess, through the tryouts that I was lucky enough to be chosen for the team. And I remember them telling me and just like breaking down in tears. Like it was just like such a relief for me. But like it was like all those 4 years of work that I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do everything, absolutely everything that I can do to
Mhm.
put myself in the best position to be successful. And if it isn't making this team, if that's not, if I put everything out there and I still don't make it, then that's not what my path was.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to keep being that person that is competitive and perseveres and grows and learns through each situation.
Mhm.
And just it's the hardest thing that I've probably had to deal with, like growing, is that like trusting that the process, at the end of the day, you'll be able to look back at it and be like, okay, this is what was supposed to happen. And I did everything that I could and I controlled what I could control. But at the end of the day, I didn't make this team here because I needed to learn this so I could make this team here. Or I needed to learn this thing in this situation so that like when I got here, I could help someone else get through that same situation. I think being able to, and I'm saying this like as a retired athlete, but like being able to have that perspective and kind of, it's okay to feel disappointed. I think that's where you like grow your strength, really honestly. Like having those hardships, not getting what I wanted every time when I thought that was what I wanted in that situation, definitely allowed me to continue to like persevere through injuries, through the stress of like trying to find or trying to get picked up from a team internationally, not knowing what your season was going to look like after it was done, things like that. So it is really, really hard, but trust me, like it's worth it if you're just able to kind of do that. So
That's awesome, and that definitely is something that you can carry throughout your life as well too, because you have that goal, that dream, and if you don't get that goal, that dream, it's like, okay, how do I rethink this, or do I keep on going down that path? So that's really
mhm.
powerful.
And it's funny too, like as a retired athlete, to kind of like that was the point that I got to when I was done playing. It was like, okay, do I keep doing this? Like I've given my all to this game for 15 or 20 years or however long it was. Like, is it still bringing me happiness and joy? Is this still what I want to be doing? I can do it. Like I'm not being a quitter. I can do it. But like, is this what I want right now? And being able to have that real honest conversation with myself and go through I guess like just the anxiety of like stepping away from something that you've known your entire life,
Yeah.
and again coming back to that trusting and having confidence in myself that like I am capable of being a fully functioning human being and not necessarily just an athlete. And I think that was one of the things like in post retirement. I always say this to people is that I was 25 years old and I didn't even know what I like to do outside of basketball.
Yeah.
People, I was moved to a new city, I started a new job, I was trying to meet new people, and they're like, yeah, so like, what do you like to do? And I sat there and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I work out and I played basketball and
Mhm.
I think I like music. I think that I like,
Yeah.
but I had no idea. So being able to kind of like figure out who I was in as a human
Mhm.
at that age was like scary, but like also really awesome.
That's really cool. It's tough, right? It really is on that piece, but then you're kind of open to so much more opportunities once you find that. So
Absolutely.
on top of that, so is there any additional advice you want to give to young girls, kind of going through, especially going through that transition phase, and trying out for the sports and really keeping like, what do you have to keep them in the game? Like what kept you, and what advice do you have to keep them in the game?
I think something that was really super important for me was knowing and believing for me that like trying was cool. I think like there's a certain stigma when you get to a certain age as a teenager where it's like, well, I don't want to try like so hard because I don't want to be that person that's like trying too hard. But like really honestly, I don't think that you'll ever be disappointed and like giving 100% or trying. And I think it's just like such a good lesson to learn that like sports is something that you can learn so many lessons through, like whether you play like recreational or internationally or professionally, there are so many different lessons that you can learn, but so many lessons are transferable between different things. So being able to just like try your hardest in everything that you do, and kind of like push and persevere for through anything that might seem hard.
Mhm.
I think I'm so proud of myself for being able to do that through everything that I've done. Like, and again, looking back on it as a retired athlete, like I look at some of the things that I went through as an athlete and how devastated I was, how disappointed I was in certain situations, how many tears that I cried in certain situations. And just knowing that like, even through all of that stuff that was really, really hard or really difficult, um, I just like the next day would wake up and put my shoes back on and be like, okay, here we go. We're trying this again. It didn't work out how I wanted it to, but like I'm in control of this situation and I'm going to say when I'm done. Um,
Mhm.
I think that is something that is just something that can carry you so far in life.
Mhm.
So I would say that's my advice. Like try your hardest. There's nothing wrong with failing. I always say this too, is that like the only time that you fail is when you do the same thing over again when you didn't learn the situation. Like if you don't learn from the situation that you're in, and you maybe don't do what you want to do, if you don't learn from it, then that's a failure. But if you are given the opportunity to kind of try something
Mhm.
and do your best and then learn and grow from it, I don't think that there is such a thing as failure. So
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I think about my when I was an athlete back in high school, and you're right, trying wasn't cool. I never even thought about that. Trying wasn't cool, and it like
no.
if you're the one that even with school, it was like you're the one that put all that effort in. It just is like, no man, like I don't want to be your friend
Mhm.
right now. And it's a very good
Yeah.
point. So yes, that is very, very good advice. Finally, last question I have for you today is why this program? What do you think is unique about this program? Why did you choose Girls in Sports Alberta?
hmm I think, like I said before, like my mom was a coach, so I have firsthand knowledge of like how influential being in the gym with girls that were athletes was in for me and my development and my sister's development. I have a cool story that like one of the girls that my mom coached actually came in was coaching at the university when I was playing at the university, and I remember we were doing like dynamic warm up across the gym, and this lady walks in, and I'm like, I know her. I don't know why I know her, but I know her, and she's got two little kids in tow, and I was like, oh my god, this is like my life, like full circle, and it was like such a cool opportunity to be able to like have conversations with athletes and be able to kind of give them similar opportunities that I had because I know how influential it was, um, and just being able to give back. I think that those are things that I am super passionate about. So it just was a good fit for me at this point in my life to be able to try and give back in a way to the sport that gave me, or sports in general, that gave me so much. So
Sure.
mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. Lauren is one of our mentors, and you can sign up for a session with her, and she'll, I'm thinking, be on one of our future panels as well too, so you can ask her more questions. So thank you again, and I hope you have an awesome day, Lauren.
No problem. Thanks, you as well. See you.
Bye.